today I'd like to demo you a noisemaker that I put together. Now the story behind this contraption is I was at a construction company dumpster and they had full window units in the dumpster. So I was taking a look at the aluminum side rails. I thought maybe I could get some of that, use it for bridge pieces for cigar box guitar. Well, I noticed these longer springs that were inside of there. They assist you in lifting the window up. So I grabbed a couple of those suckers, came home, and I slapped it on this board here. Now the idea was, I grabbed an old guitar pickup, set it underneath the spring, and then you'd rap on this spring with a screwdriver and it would make these eerie noises. It reminded me of Star Trek, the Wrath of Kahn. If you remember what Khan's spaceship sounded like, kind of what this thing sounds like. So, rather than permanently mount a guitar pickup, I thought I could use a piezo element. Now, piezo is a ceramic disc. It's a little gold disc with a white ceramic circle on it. They also use crystals and bone for that. They're used for production and detection of sound, meaning you can use this as a pickup, acts off vibration, or you can use it as a speaker. A lot of little kids' video games or the 80s digital watches, beep beep, that's a piezo in there. Also as an ignition source for a click lighter or a propane barbecue, that's also a piezo element. Now the one I'm talking about, you can run down to Radio Shack and give them $4 or $5, spend an hour in there. You know how I feel about Rat Shack, but we're not going to get into that. I went through a bunch of old handheld broken video games. We were at a cigarette store's dumpster and they had a little black plastic alarm thing with cables coming out of it. I guess if you're going to steal something, locked down, you have to cut this cable and then this alarm goes off. Well, sure enough, I grabbed that thing and there was a piezo in there. So like I said, going through, I picked up, I think we ended up with 5 of them on like an hour hunt through some of our old junk. Now, when they're used for pickups, it's a different sound than a normal guitar pickup. It's a full spectrum sound, very wide frequency range. Also, there's no hum or feedback. It works on vibration. They usually fit these into the bridge of the instrument where the strings come out of the bottom and it gets lifted up to go across the sound hole. That's the bridge back at that end. And the reason they do that is because that's where the vibrations are the strongest in wood. Now, electronically, they require a higher voltage than a magnetic pickup, and that's why they're often used, you use a preamp circuit with that. We're not going to worry about that today. We're just going to turn it up a little bit. Now, I'd like to show you some piezo elements and differentiate them from a tiny headphone speaker. Now, you can see here, these are several piezo elements. This is the one that I retrieved out of that alarm system. Here's a smaller one. Ironically, they sound the same. I tested them out. It sounds about the same frequency. Now, if there's metal tabs touching these on the mounting, you can go ahead and just solder right in on there, and that will work. Amazingly enough, you can solder right onto that white porcelain, and for some reason it works. Now, one of the things you'll run into when you're on your piezo hunt is the mini headphone. This is not a piezo. I call it a mini headphone speaker. It's a tiny speaker. It looks like a headphone. You probably have a real name for it, but that's what you want to look out for. They're really not really good for anything. So for the purpose of today's demonstration, rather than go ahead and professionally mount this thing, I just went ahead and used some alligator clips to connect the piezo element to our amplifier. So I'm going to take this little guy and just kind of use the spring tension to wedge it in place at the base of the spring, and that should be sufficient just for a temp test, like I like to call them. So let's see if we've got it here. Yeah, we have it. Now, initial tests indicated that for some reason, unlike it says on Wikipedia, it is feeding back. So I'm going to keep the volume low. I think part of it is because the amplifier is sitting on the table, so the vibration is creating a feedback loop. But I'm just going to go ahead and deal with it because it kind of sounds cool anyway. So here you go, the Wrath of Kahn. Now I'll use a metal striker for a little bit more attack. Now if you mute it, you can get like a kind of a typical laser sound. This crackling noise, I think this is just the piezo moving a little bit in there. Kind of a little horror movie type. Now I connected this little wire here up to this spray paint cup, and we're going to see if we can transmit any audio. 1, 2, 1, 2. Kind of stupid, but I had to try it. Okay, yeah, piezos don't feed back. So now we're gonna go ahead and switch over to our guitar pickup, and then we'll wrap it up after that. You can hear the difference between the piezo jammed in between the spring and just an old crappy guitar pickup that I'm going to be kind of moving it around in there. Now what I did here, I connected the pickup, and it was a little hum. It was humming, so I ran a ground wire coming off of the negative side of the pickup, coming up and grounded this spring, and it actually quieted the hum. Now check this out. We put this piece of foam rubber underneath the amplifier to prevent it from feeding back, because the vibrations were just carrying through, creating a natural feedback loop. So that helped out quite a bit. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Wrath